Hey everybody, I hope you guys are all doing fantastically today. I am back again with yet another beginner's guide, and this time we're going to be looking at the 4 remaining nations that you can get at 1.0. So we'll start off with Britain. Britain is a fantastic nation for those who are looking for something that offers good mobility, reasonable firepower, and reliable armor, by and large at least. The A13 series tanks, which are part of the starter pack for the Brits, as well as the Crusader the Saint, um, they are fantastic. The A13s Mark 1 and 2, and also the 3rd Royal Tank Regiment, are fantastic tanks. They've got a very, very good 40mm gun, a 2-pounder cannon, and their mobility is on par with most of your peers at this BR. The Stuarts, likewise, slightly smaller gun, boasting a 37mm cannon. They have substantially more speed. The armor is a little bit gimmicky, to be brutally honest, both on the Stuart 1 and 3, but it's by and large a pretty reliable tank. The Tetrarch is a bit of a goofy little thing. It's also got a 2-pounder cannon, good mobility, basically no armor, but very respectable firepower. The Daimler is a fantastic armored car. It has no armor as you would expect on a wheeled vehicle like a armored car, and it has a 40mm gun. Again, this is pretty much your stock standard at this BR for Britain. It has a lot of mobility, as you could also expect, and is pretty much the same in reverse and going forward. The Staghound and the Light AA Mark II, the Light AA Mark 1, sorry, apologies, is really not a great anti-aircraft. It's okay, it's not great. The Staghound is where it starts to get good, but the Sark Mark 4 is also very, very good. It's very similar to the Daimler, just a little bit more top heavy. It's also got a 40mm cannon, but by and large, it is pretty much the same as the Daimler, just the South African variant. If we quickly switch on over to the aviation, you've got the Fury, the Nimrods, the Gladiators, the Blenheims, the V156B1, which, if you watched my French video, if you haven't, go check it out. The French beginner guide video also mentions this, and it's basically the same aircraft, so I won't go too deep into that. You've then also got the rather infamous Swordfish, and you got the Hampton bombers. These aircraft here are pretty good for getting into the game. The V156, like I said in my French video, great CAS aircraft. The Swordfish is okay. Hampton's a very good bomber. Blenheim's a good bomber as well. And the Fury and the Gladiators are pretty good fighters. So if we're just looking at the ground aspect and the aviation aspect, obviously there is the fleet component too, but I'm not going to go too deep into that. If we quickly take a squiz at the ground aspect of the British tech tree and what you can expect, Crusaders, Cromwell, through to all the way actually to the Challenger and Comet, even the Centurions, all of these vehicles, if I'm actually just going to be very honest and sum it up entirely, all of the British vehicles have some degree of reliable armor, except for obviously your wheeled vehicles and your open top AA that you can expect, and your big SPGs. Aside from the Tortoise, the SPGs are also fairly vulnerable. You've got some beefy boys like your 3-inch gun carrier, your Matilda 3s. Your Achilles can also get some work done. Your Churchills, also very, very good heavy tanks, the Churchill series. The guns on the British vehicles are very good. They fire solid shot only though, so you don't have an APHE round that is not necessarily common in other tech trees, but that you can still find in other tech trees. The Italians make heavy use of the APHE round. The Brits don't have that option. Even in the South African sub-tech tree, there is no APHE round. It is all solid shot or APCBC rounds. The AA are pretty good. Their calibers are really strong. You've got 20mm on the Easterfrak, also on the Crusader 2 with the Oerlikon 2020s, 20mm, the 220s. There we go. Their armor on the Crusader chassis is good. For the Crusader AA, it's pretty decent. The AEC is also a fairly tough nut to crack if you're in an AA and you come across this thing, which I have on a couple of occasions. Crusader AA Mark 1 with the Bofors 40mm is really, really good. General playstyle is very methodic. There's a lot of kind of have to have your moves planned out ahead, as you don't have a lot of mobility to make quick, swift changes to your battle plan. The difference comes in with the Vickers Mark One, and all of the Vickers chassis vehicles actually are very, very light and very nimble compared to your Centurions, Chieftains, and pretty much everything else really. The Charioteer, this whole line from Charioteer on is pretty mobile, all things considered. The Chieftain Marksman is pretty reliable, as is the ZA35. I have a friend who uses it, and he achieves great success with it. And in terms of the premiums available to you, the Khalid, the Roykat, Challenger DS, the Vijanta, um, Centurion 5 AVRE, Action X, ACIV, the Tesnich, all of these tanks here are very, very good premiums, and you'll go quite far with them. The best one, probably bang for your buck, if you're getting a pack, the Centurion 5 or even the Roykat. The DS struggles a little bit because of its battle rating. It sits in a little bit of an awkward spot, but it's still also actually pretty reliable. So if you really want to give yourself a challenge and you feel up to it, the DS is a good premium pack to buy. Quickly examining the air aspect of it, the problem that sits with the British aviation tech tree is there's a lot of repetition and a lot of similarities. This is kind of par for the course considering British design didn't change all that much during the war. They found a design and they stuck with it and they just upgraded it to be better. This is evident with the Spitfires and the Hurricanes as well as the Typhoons, which eventually became the Tempests. The bombers are also very vulnerable. The British have very, very large, clunky bombers. So if you're somebody who enjoys bomber play, be warned that the bombers are very big targets compared to other bombers, and they have substantially less defensive capability than other bombers. Like your American bombers will have obviously the 50 cals, but they also have a lot more of them. The British bombers don't have that same luxury. In terms of fighters and CAS aircraft, the Brits are spoiled for choice. You've got Spitfires that can carry bombs as well as fight. They are. I'm not going to say anything more because the Spitfire reputation speaks for itself. But the Hurricanes as well can do some groundwork to a lesser extent. The Beaufighters, as well as the Mosquitoes, are very, 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 very good CAS aircraft. The Typhoons are amazing CAS aircraft. Even your Vampires can carry bombs. Your Hunters have limited strike capability. Meteor, you're literally limited to guns and rockets, if I'm not mistaken, on some of them. The Javelin also pretty much just guns, lightnings, and interceptor. I haven't played much of this, but the Attacker F1 from what FB1 from what I've seen is a very good strike aircraft, as well as the Sea Fury actually. Moving on further to the right, the Swifts are very good fighters as well as CAS aircraft, more so leaning into the fighter domain than the CAS domain, but that is brought back into fray with the Jaguar GR1 and the Harrier GR3. Both are very, very capable close air support aircraft, and the Canberras are also reliably decent, as well as the Buccaneer, both the S1 and the S2. But that is pretty much all for the British. They've got a lot of flexibility, a lot of versatility. There's also a lot of methodical gameplay. So if you like gameplay that is very slow, by step almost, then the Brits are definitely for you. You've got somewhat reliable armor, and your aviation wing is fairly strong, albeit somewhat repetitive. But by and large, you'll have quite a bit of fun getting through the British tech tree. The only thing that I would have to criticize the British tech tree for the ground aspect is that there is no APHE round, and then for the aviation is just that there is far too many aircraft and there are a lot of repetition and similar gameplay sort of going on. So that would be my only critique for the two branches. But thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate the eyes on, and I will see you guys in the next video.